The internet has split into two camps on how to make money in 2026, and both camps are wrong. Camp 1 says grind. Start a faceless channel, flip products online, sell templates, work until your vision blurs. Camp 2 says play it safe. Get some quiet remote job nobody wants. Collect your check, keep your head down. Both paths have a structural problem that almost nobody talks about. And today I'm going to walk you through a third path that borrows from both, throws out what's broken, and adds something most money advice completely ignores. I was on a call recently with a guy I know. Let's call him R, because he'd kill me if I used his name. R had done everything right by internet standards. He ran 3 faceless content accounts, a print-on-demand store, and a freelance editing gig on the side. He was pulling in about $9,000 a month, which sounds fantastic, until he told me he hadn't taken a full day off in 7 months. His phone was the first thing he touched in the morning, and the last thing he touched at night. Not because he wanted to check it, but because he was terrified that one of his accounts had been flagged or demonetized while he slept. He described it as running on a treadmill that someone else controls the speed of, and that image stuck with me, because it's the perfect description of what most online hustles actually are. If you build your entire income on somebody else's platform, you don't own a business, you rent one, and the landlord can change the terms whenever they want. We've watched this happen over and over. Platforms/creator payouts. Accounts get shadow banned. Content categories get nuked overnight. The creator has no customer list, no proprietary product, no fallback. They just wake up one morning, and the income is gone. Naval Ravikant put it simply when he said, "You're not going to get rich renting out your time." And that line goes deeper than most people realize. Because even if you're technically self-employed, if your revenue depends on one platform's algorithm, you're still renting. You're renting attention on land you don't own. And it's getting worse. In 2026, AI tools have flattened the playing field to the point where anyone can produce the same content, the same designs, the same videos, which means the supply of creators has exploded, but the money being paid out hasn't grown to match. The result is a slow margin collapse, where you have to produce more for less and run faster just to stay in place. Now, the second camp, the boring, safe, remote job people, they've got a different problem. I have a cousin who works remotely verifying data accuracy for a mid-size marketing firm. She got the job 2 years ago, and at first, it was perfect. Good pay, low stress, flexible hours. She told me she felt like she'd found a cheat code. Then about 6 months ago, her company started testing an internal AI tool that does roughly 70% of what she does, in a fraction of the time. She hasn't been let go yet, but the writing is on the wall, and she knows it. She described the feeling as sitting in a chair that's slowly being pulled out from under you. The jobs most people think of as safe, the ones that involve taking structured information from one place, checking it, and putting it somewhere else, are precisely the jobs that AI handles most easily. If your work follows a predictable pattern, a machine can learn that pattern, and it doesn't need lunch breaks or health insurance. So one path burns you out, and the other one has an expiration date printed on it in small font. What do you actually do? You stop choosing between them, and you build something different using all 3 ingredients. There's a man I know through a mutual friend. Mid-30s, lives in a mid-sized city, nothing flashy about him at all. He works a remote job in technical support for a software company, 4 days a week, earns about $58,000 a year. His apartment is small and clean, not in a magazine photo shoot way, but in a way where everything in it gets used. He drives a car that's older than most of the content on his YouTube recommendations, and he seems completely unbothered by this. What most people don't know about him is that he runs a paid weekly research digest for procurement managers in the pharmaceutical supply chain industry. He started it as a side project about 18 months ago. It now has roughly 1,400 subscribers paying $12 a month. That's an additional $16,000 a month. From something he spends about 10 hours a week on. When I asked him how he got there, he didn't talk about hustle or grind. He said something I keep thinking about. He said, "The reason most people never build anything real is because their life is too expensive to allow them to think straight." That one sentence contains the entire framework. It has 3 layers. The first layer is about what's happening in your head, not your bank account. The second is about using boring work strategically, not as a destination. And the third is about building things where the math is wildly in your favor. Layer 1 is about creating what I call cognitive margin. Most money advice starts with earning more or investing better, but none of that matters if your brain is running at full capacity, just keeping your current life from falling apart. There's a real cost to the way most people live, and it's not on any receipt. Every object in your home, every subscription on your phone, every monthly payment you've committed to, occupies a tiny slice of your attention. Each one by itself is nothing, but added together, they create a constant background hum of low-grade stress you can't quite name, but you can definitely feel. Researchers have documented that visual and financial clutter raises cortisol, the stress hormone, and actively reduces your capacity to focus and plan. Seneca wrote it almost 2,000 years ago. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a great deal of it. And he wasn't talking about scrolling Instagram, but he might as well have been, because the modern version of wasting life isn't laziness. It's busyness, directed at maintaining things you don't actually care about. I watched a friend spend an entire Saturday reorganizing a storage unit full of stuff she admitted she'd forgotten she owned. She was paying $180 a month to store things she wouldn't have spent a single dollar to replace if they'd vanished. The storage unit wasn't holding her possessions. It was holding her hostage, paying rent on things that gave her nothing in return. This is the desperation tax in action. When your lifestyle consumes everything you earn, your nervous system stays locked in a survival state. And a brain in survival mode does not build things. It reacts, it chases, it grabs at whatever seems like quick relief. Which is why so many people bounce from side hustle to side hustle. Not because they lack ability, but because they lack the mental room to commit to anything long enough for it to compound. The way out isn't earning more, it's needing less. And I don't mean that in some monk on a mountain way. I mean it practically. Before you buy anything, divide the total price by the realistic number of times you'll use it. A $300 item used 3 times is $100 per use, which is almost always absurd when you see it written down. A $40 item used 4 times a week costs you pennies. That single division kills most purchase urges on contact, because when you see the real number, the desire just kind of evaporates. Go through your space and ask one question about everything in it. If this disappeared tonight, would I go out and buy another one? The honest answer for most things is no. And if you wouldn't replace it, then it's not adding to your life. It's subtracting from it, through space, through attention, through the vague guilt of owning things you know you don't need. Sell what has value. Donate what someone else can use. Remove the rest. Stop replacing things that still work. Charlie Munger, who spent decades watching how people destroy their own wealth, once said, The first rule of compounding is to never interrupt it unnecessarily, and that applies to possessions too. Every time you replace a working phone, a functioning car, a perfectly good jacket, because a newer version showed up, you interrupt the compounding of your money for zero functional gain. Across a lifetime, this pattern alone can cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars. And the move that ties it all together makes spending difficult and saving invisible. Delete the apps that make it easy to buy things at 2 in the morning. Remove saved payment methods from websites. Set up automatic transfers to investment accounts that happen on payday before you even see the money. Don't rely on discipline to win every day at 3 in the afternoon when you're tired and your guard is down. Rely on architecture instead. Make the right behavior the default, and the wrong behavior require effort. When you compress your lifestyle like this, 2 things happen at the same time. Your monthly costs drop, which creates a financial buffer, and your mental noise drops, which creates something far more valuable: the clarity to think about what you actually want to spend your life building. That's cognitive margin, and it's not optional. It's the prerequisite for everything that follows. Layer 2 is what I call the subsidized sandbox. Once you've created margin, you don't quit everything and bet on yourself. That's a romantic idea, and it makes great content, but the failure rate is brutal. What you do instead is find a low-stress remote job and completely redefine your relationship with it. You don't treat it as a career. You treat it as a funding mechanism, an entity that pays your compressed living costs, covers your insurance, and asks relatively little of your creative energy in return. Positions in process documentation, quality assurance, data management, technical support, infrastructure maintenance. These exist in huge numbers. They're perpetually hiring because most people find them tedious. And the key feature is that when you log off, you're actually off. Your brain isn't processing client emergencies or worrying about algorithm changes at midnight. You have a full tank of mental energy left at the end of each workday. Robert Greene wrote in Mastery that the future belongs to those who learn more skills and combine them in creative ways. And that's exactly what this setup allows. The job isn't the destination, it's the platform that buys you time and space to develop the skills and assets that will eventually replace it. The surplus money, your paycheck minus your compressed costs, goes straight into simple automated index fund investing, not because investing alone will make you wealthy, but because it builds a compounding safety net in the background, while your real attention goes somewhere else. Most people get stuck here though. They find the comfortable job. They save a little. They settle in. And they never take the third step, because comfort is seductive, and nobody told them there was a third step. The third step is the whole point. Layer 3, asymmetric assets. The word asymmetric matters. It means a situation where what you can lose is small and capped, but what you can gain is large and open-ended. Most side hustles are the opposite. You put in serious money, time, and risk for returns that are limited by your available hours and dependent on someone else's platform. But when your bills are covered by the sandbox and your head is clear from cognitive margin, you can spend your free hours building things where the only real cost is your time. And if a project doesn't work, you've lost nothing. Your job still pays the rent, your investments still grow. But if it does work, it can produce income that makes your salary look like a rounding error. There are 3 categories of these that are working right now, and all 3 share the same DNA. They require nothing but a laptop. They involve zero physical inventory, and you own the customer relationship directly, with no platform standing between you and the people who pay you. The first is what I'd call a curated intelligence service. We are drowning in AI-generated noise right now. Search results are degrading, social feeds are full of recycled surface-level content, and professionals in specialized fields can no longer trust that what they're reading was written by someone who actually understands the subject. This creates a gap, and gaps are where real money lives. If you have genuine knowledge or serious curiosity about a specific professional domain, pharmaceutical supply chains, clean energy regulation, commercial real estate financing, healthcare compliance, emerging market economics, you can build a paid digest that filters the signal from the static. You read the primary sources, the filings, the studies, the data, the regulatory updates, and you translate them into clear, useful analysis delivered weekly to people who will pay real money to save themselves hours of sorting through garbage. You can start this on a free newsletter platform with $0. Your only tools are a laptop, a browser, and your own judgment. And the subscribers belong to you, not to any algorithm, which means this asset gets more valuable with every issue you publish, not less. The second category is system installation. There are millions of small businesses in every town that are bleeding time and money because their operations run on sticky notes, text messages, and memory. A plumber who books jobs through phone calls and scribbles appointments on a whiteboard. A real estate agent tracking leads in their head. A dental office scheduling patients through a chain of confused phone transfers. You can build a standardized workflow package using no-code automation tools. Connect their booking to their calendar, to their reminders, to a simple client database. Install it in a day, train them in an hour. Charge a flat project fee and a small monthly maintenance retainer. Then move to the next client. You build the template once and install it repeatedly, each time faster than the last. And here's what's important. AI doesn't threaten this work, it speeds it up. You use AI to write the documentation, configure the connections, and generate training guides, which means your effective output per hour keeps climbing, while your overhead stays at zero. Warren Buffett once described his ideal business as one that requires no capital, produces consistent cash flow, and has a wide moat around it. A system installation practice checks every one of those boxes. Once you have 20 clients on monthly retainers, you have a stable recurring income stream that no platform can turn off. The third category is strategic advisory. Instead of locking yourself into ongoing coaching relationships with dozens of clients that eat your calendar alive, you package what you know into a concentrated high-value format. One focused session of 60 to 90 minutes, plus a custom written action plan delivered afterward. No recurring commitment, no weekly check-ins, no Slack channels, no scope creep. You get paid for the quality of your thinking, not the quantity of your hours. The client gets a clear, specific outcome, and you get clean boundaries and an empty calendar the next day. You can run this with a free scheduling tool, a video call app, and a document editor. 3 tools total. No office, no assistant, no software subscriptions. This works in any field where people face high-stakes decisions and want a real human perspective, not a chatbot summary. Career pivots, business launches, marketing strategy, financial structuring, product positioning. The demand for genuine human judgment in these areas isn't shrinking as AI grows. It's actually increasing, because the stakes of getting it wrong have gone up. Annie Duke, who spent years studying decision-making under uncertainty, wrote that the quality of our lives is the sum of decision quality plus luck. And you can't do anything about luck, but you can charge people to improve their decision quality. That's what strategic advisory is at its core. Now look at what all 3 of these have in common. They pass what I think of as the empty backpack test. You could run any of them while traveling with nothing but a laptop bag. No warehouse, no inventory, no equipment, no employees, no complex tech stack. This is what it looks like when minimalist thinking meets business design. Your overhead stays so low that nearly every dollar of revenue is margin, which means you reach financial independence dramatically faster than someone carrying the weight of a traditional business. And the 3 layers feed each other in a way that keeps getting stronger. Cognitive margin gives you the peace and focus to build. The sandbox covers your bills while you build. And the assets produce income that flows back into investments, which deepens the safety net, which further reduces the financial stress, which gives you even sharper focus to build the next thing. The person working a $58,000 remote job, who compressed their life to need $35,000, who invests the gap automatically, and who spends 10 focused hours a week building a curated intelligence service with 1,400 paying subscribers. That person has built a quiet empire, and they did it without burning out, without risking homelessness, and without filling their life with stuff they don't need. Morgan Housel wrote in The Psychology of Money that wealth is what you don't see. It's the cars not purchased, the diamonds not bought, the renovations postponed, the clothes not needed, and the first-class upgrade declined. And I think he's exactly right, because the people building the most durable freedom right now are not the ones posting their wins online. They're the ones who made their lives simple enough to think clearly, and then use that clarity to build things that compound while they sleep. This is what I mean by asymmetric sovereignty. It's not about working more or working less. It's about arranging your life so that every hour of effort has the maximum possible impact, while every hour of rest is genuinely restful. So here's what I'd ask you to do right now. I call it the sovereignty audit. 3 questions, 10 minutes. 1. What is your enough number? What does your life actually cost each month when you subtract everything you wouldn't bother replacing if it were gone tomorrow? 2. What is your sandbox? What kind of low-stress remote role could comfortably cover that number and leave your evenings and your mental energy intact? 3. What is your asymmetric asset? What could you build in focused blocks of spare time, where your downside is capped at 0, but your upside is wide open, and where the people who pay you do so directly without a platform in the middle? Write those 3 answers down somewhere you'll see them every day. That's your blueprint. Everything else is noise. If this changed something in how you're thinking about your time and your money, drop a comment and tell me which layer you're starting with. I'll see you in the next one.